Support for WYES is made possible by Mary Lou Kristovich in memory of her husband, William Kristovich.
Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, yay, Susan Larson, host of the radio program The Reading Life, airing on WWNO Radio, and she'll be giving us the scoop on next week's Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. Welcome, sweetie. Good to see you. Hello. The popster, Poppy Tucker, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, also airing on WWNO radio program. Hello.
Hey, Peg.
Making his debut on Steppin Out, Paul Willis, here to talk about this year's Saints and Sinners Literary Festival, celebrating 15 years. Congratulations, Paul.
Thanks so much, Peggy.
Hello. And Steppin Out theater critic, Alan Mason, whose website is theatercriticism.com. And we're so glad that you've got that. Very useful, too. Before we proceed, though, we do want to recognize the passing of New Orleans Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson. He was 90 years old. He and his wife Gail have been extremely generous with their local philanthropy efforts, and we at WYES are most grateful for all that they have done for our community and for YES. So sorry. We're really going to miss him. Amazing man. Now, Poppy.
Peggy, didn't we have a good time Monday night?
Yes, we did, especially for a Monday night.
Oh,
you know?
Peggy and I were lucky enough to be included at this incredible James Beard Foundation fundraising dinner that Ralph Brennan threw. And of course, it was a big week for James Beard because the nominees were announced, and once again, I haven't been nominated, but I would like to say that Ralph Brennan made all my dreams come true on Monday night when I got to have my picture taken with James Beard. Now, I'd hoped for a nomination, but I'd never hoped for a photo, so there we go. And talk about exciting food news. The auction house market is open on the corner of Julia and Magazine Street, and it is fabulous.
That's the old New Orleans auction, isn't
Right.
it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's brought to us by the same people who brought us St. Roch, and all I can tell you is it's beautiful. It's more elegant, perhaps, than hip. It's fabulous. And let me tell you what you can eat there. So there's Aloha Lea. They've got gorgeous sushi, sashimi, and they have poke bowls. Remember, I told everybody what that was recently.
Let's start from you.
And then there is incredible Indian street food, tava. This adorable young man, Manish, and his mother, Bharti. She said, please let me work for you. Don't hire employees. And he has dosas and all sorts of, you know, those yummy, crepey, wrappy, yummy things that Indians wrap all sorts of yum. Everything is delicious. There was a little vegetable soup that was the most delicious thing I had all week. Then, really interesting, Mac and Moon. That's macaroons, wild crafted foods and teas. Now, these are all, this is a new venture, these three ladies, and I understand that the food, wait, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till you see this wildflower spring roll. Oh, the teas were delicious, a hibiscus tea, and you'll notice all of those wildflowers, and one of the ladies forages for wildflowers to supply their stand. Then, of course, carried over, oh, and they also have rolled ice cream at that stand, and it's all vegan and vegetarian. It's a curiosity for sure. And then, over from St. Roch, they're still at St. Roch though, Empanola, Elysian Seafood, Coast Roast Coffee, and of course that great Mayha Bar. Now there's an event that's coming up on Sunday, March the 25th at the New Gracious Bakery location on Britannia. I just love Megan Foreman, and she's bringing in a baking god, Brooklyn baker Zachary Golfer. And of course, his place is Bien Cuit. The theme is 50% within 500 miles. So there's going to be a discussion on regenerative agriculture, but then the food that is coming from within 500 miles. Cornmeal croissant with blueberry jam, sausage, egg, brown butter, and turkey wheat Danish. Carrot and ricotta tartine made with turkey wheat sourdough. And that's all happening Sunday, March the 25th from 9 a.m. till noon, no reservations. And then, with a nod to St. Patrick's Day, I would like to mention that the Polo Club Lounge at the Windsor Court is debuting a new Irish cocktail this weekend that they're calling the Irish Derby. So I imagine we'll be seeing it right through horse racing season. It features Jameson Irish whiskey, Go Green Big Easy Bucha, that's kombucha.
Oh, yes.
And a hint of honey and mint. So it's sure to get you in the mood for St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you so much. 32 years.
Ah, and we've seen them all.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Tennessee Williams.
But it never gets old. It never gets old.
It's always fresh, actually.
It is.
Yeah, the
And
template is there, but there are new people, new faces.
I know, and a lot
some
of returning
familiar ones. I love that
this
too.
year,
Yeah.
and a lot of new ones. And the first new one I'm really excited about is actress Amy Ryan. Now, you may know her from The Office or from Gone Baby Gone, from Birdman or Bridge of Spies, but what you might not know about her was that she was in the 2005 revival of Streetcar. So her Tennessee Williams chops will be on full display at the opening night gala, which is Women of Williams, the Wow Factor. So that's Wednesday at 7:30 at Le Petit. And then Pulitzer Prize winner Richard Ford is back teaching a great masterclass. He's only done this twice. And it's called What Makes Good Writing? And he will tell us the 13 qualities of a good writer. And you know, he's a great teacher, so don't miss that. That's Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. And then we're lucky to have native daughter and very popular political consultant and commentator Donna Brazile this year for the first time. You know her from Cooking with Grease, of course, her autobiography, and Hacks, her bestseller about the 2016 election. And she's going to do a craft session with Pat Brady on telling your truths. That's at 2:30 on Friday. And then at 4 o'clock Saturday, she'll be back to dish on politics with Tyler Bridges, investigative journalist. That's going to be great. And another dynamic duo, that's what I'm calling them now, on Saturday, will be Leah Chase. We're celebrating Leah Chase so much these days, her many contributions. And she'll be doing an interview with Sheba Turk, who has her own autobiography coming out, just out rather, called Off Air, My Journey to the Anchor Desk. And Rick Bragg, I think Rick Bragg should be a festival lifer. Let's just have him every year. He brings the charm, he brings the fun. This year he's bringing some talk about food, Poppy, actually. He's going to be on a memoir panel at 2:30 Saturday, then Sunday at 10 at Dickie Brennan's Bourbon House. He'll be doing a food event with Ian McNulty, talking about his book that comes out in April. We just missed it. And it's called The Best Cook in the World, Tales from My Mama's Table. And who doesn't love Rick Bragg's mama?
Yeah.
She's a national treasure, as you know. And then we're lucky to have Laura Lippman, who's back with Sunburn, her thriller that will keep you turning pages. And she's doing a great panel that she thought of called My Favorite Mistake. So these writers, Laura Lippman, Jamie Attenberg, and Allison Galen, are going to talk about moments in their careers when their writing seemed to go off the rails a bit, but maybe it went in a new direction. Maybe it became a great success. You never know. And then we have Calvin Trillin back.
Yay.
His only condition was that he get to judge Stanley and Stella's shouting contest. So of course, why
we
not?
love Calvin Trillin, New Yorker, and so much more.
He writes everything: food, journalism, political commentary, deadline poetry for The Nation. He's fabulous.
And the Big E is interviewing him.
And
Errol
2:30 on
Lafleur.
Sunday. I would not leave that out. And he's part of a human rights panel that we're doing at 10 o'clock on Sunday that's going to be really great. His last book was called Jackson 1968, and it was a collection of his civil rights journalism. Really extraordinary. And then we have The Luck of Friendship. I love this book. It's called The Letters of Tennessee Williams and James Laughlin. And Laughlin was his publisher for 40 years. So these letters are so entertaining, and they show a relationship of a writer and a publisher over time. We're going to have the editor, Thomas Keith, and his co-editor, Peggy Fox, who was Tennessee Williams' last editor. They had a play at the printer when he died. And she'll be interviewed about her publishing career at 10 o'clock Saturday, long distinguished career. And then at 11:30, there'll be a panel about the letters, which I think will be great. And then what better way to close out than Drummer and Smoke? And it's going to be a full day at the Palm Court Jazz Cafe. We have Spencer Boren doing the poetry of Hank Williams, the Pfister Sisters doing what was playing on Tennessee's Victrola, and then Take It All Home with Don Vappy, who's such a favorite.
Quite the capo, all the Palm Court.
So no matter what you like, you know, we have poets, we have 15 nasty women poets, we have novelists, we have memoirists, we have nonfiction writers. So TennesseeWilliams.net. Plot your weekend. We'll be ready for you.
Thank you so much, Susan. And New Orleans Magazine's Quiz Queen Julia Street has a question for us. Last time, William Glasgow gave us the names of 2 thoroughfares that parallel the east and west boundaries of City Park. The answers, Marconi Drive and Wisner Boulevard. Now, tonight's question, what are the 2 oldest restaurants in the quarter? Ooh, puppy. And on which streets are they located? Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes, a year's subscription to Louisiana Life magazine, a dish towel with the message Rosemary's Baby from our friends at Wearable Vegetables, and a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. You can go to wyes.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including guitarist Spencer Boren and John Rankin performing at the Columns Hotel next Tuesday. You can also link to our WYES YouTube to visit our program. Longtime fashion stylist Tracy Dundas, who heads up New Orleans Fashion Week, came in this afternoon with some highlights of the next few days and brought along some very special guests. Tracy, it's hard to believe the 8th season of New Orleans Fashion Week.
It is hard to believe. I kind of feel like it's a 7-year itch, if you will.
Well, the next few days will be full of special events with New Orleans Fashion Week. Yes. It's for the industry, but it's also for the general public. I know you're giving a talk on Sunday.
So excited about the talk that's going to be at NOMA. We're referring to it as Let's Talk, but it's a panel discussion with 2 local designers, and at the same time we're supporting the fashion exhibit, A Queen Within, at NOMA.
That's right, Alexander McQueen. That's quite an exhibit, too.
So amazing.
And then Tuesday night.
Tuesday night is another highlight event. I refer to it as our special edition this year because as the city celebrates its tricentennial, we want to celebrate fashion for 300 years. So it's the evolution of fashion, and we'll be showing different nuggets of history and fashion kind of meshed together.
So NewOrleansFashionWeek.com, yes. And we have a mini fashion show, and the stylist today.
Yes, the designer is Gwen Hawkins. She's an amazing designer based on the West Bank of New Orleans, been designing for 20 years, and I'm excited this is her 2nd season showing with us.
Very good, Tracy. I will leave and you take it away. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay. Super excited to have Gwen Hawkins with us, her fashions with us today, and I've got 3 beautiful models that we're going to showcase, give you a sneak peek of some of her wear. So the first model could step out, and I'll give you a little description of what she's wearing. Love, love, love this. This is very inspirational to Black Panther, if you will, the African print, the bolero cut jacket with the pleats, and then you might think this is a skirt, but it's actually a pant set underneath. So that skirt is removable. I'm gonna get the model, Stephanie, to do a full turnaround so you could just feel the flow of this gorgeous outfit. Thank you, Stephanie. Our next model will showcase a guy's outfit. So Miss Gwen Hawkins also designs male fashions, and so you'll notice that the details on his shirt accents exactly what our previous model was wearing. We've got the print on the collar and the cuffs, and if he turns around, it has a little tail in the back. Very trendy, and that's what I love about Gwen. She always brings something exciting to all the fashions that she designs. Thank you, Brandon. Last, but certainly not least, we have a beautiful blush-toned cocktail outfit. It has all the high points of what I love. It's got the lace, the chiffon, and then the trend of the tassel as well. I just think it's great. So Miss Gwen Hawkins is going to be showing on the runway with us. Let me get the other models back out here for one last look. Gwen is going to be showing on the runway with us at New Orleans Fashion Week. It's at the Monastery. Please visit our website. And thank you, Miss Peggy, for having us on today.
Thank you, Tracy. As we mentioned, the Tuesday night event will be held at the New Orleans Jazz Market, right across from the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. Go to NewOrleansFashionWeek.com for details. A rundown of all the events, including the one at the new Monastery event venue, too, on North Rampart, too. And now, Paul. Paul, 15 years, Saints and Sinners, and for someone who's perhaps not acquainted with the festival, let's talk about the focus first and then some of the highlights.
The focus of the Saints and Sinners Festival is representing LGBT literature. It's become a program within the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. This year we're excited to have 2 covers for the commemorating the 15th anniversary. It features artwork by artist Timothy Cummings, who has gallery shows in New York and San Francisco. There's many things to do throughout the weekend, and a suggestion to kick it off would be to take our Saints and Sinners French Quarter walking tour. It's led by Frank Perez, who's a author and historian who will point out landmarks of the neighborhood's queer history. The weekend officially kicks off on Friday night with a Glitter with the Literati welcome party at the Beauregard Kai's house on Charter Street. And our literary program consists of panel discussions and readings. We have over 24 to choose from during the weekend, and it kicks off on Saturday. Our first discussion is titled Queer Fiction as Social Commentary. It features Matthew Griffin, who teaches at Tulane University, and his first book, Hyde, was a winner of a Stonewall Book Award by the American Library Association. Another person featured this year is Jericho Brown. He's going to be participating in both Tennessee Williams and Saints and Sinners. He's an award-winning poet and teaches at Emory University in Atlanta. And he judged our Tennessee Williams Poetry Contest this year, and he's going to be part of our reading series at Saints and Sinners, where we'll be featuring 50 authors throughout the weekend that'll be reading from their most recent works. And we're excited to welcome back Jewel Gomez this year. She's
a big deal.
She's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And she'll be doing several things throughout the weekend. One of them including Inside the Writer's Studio discussion with prolific author Greg Herron, who I think you might know. And she'll also be doing part of a panel discussion, which is Susan and I's favorite topic for the weekend, and it's titled We've Been Through This Before, Baby Boomer Lesbians Talk About Writing, Resistance, and Relevance. So I think that is not to be missed. First time author appearing at Saints and Sinners this year is Elizabeth Schwartz. She is a lawyer, and she was co-counsel in Florida, where she was successfully able to overturn their ban of gay marriage. And she wrote a book called Before I Do, A Legal Guide to Marriage, and she's going to facilitate a workshop titled Marriage Minefield, and she's billing it as the cheapest lawyer's time that you'll ever get. So for $10, you can come and ask her any questions that you'd like. We're featuring 2 new books this week at the festival this year, newer books. One is by local author Clayton Dellery. He just received a nomination as the best LGBTQ nonfiction book of the year by the Lambda Literary Association. And his book is titled Out for Queer Blood, and it's about a gay hate crime that took place in New Orleans in 1958. In contrast to his book, we have a title called Pride and Joy by Kathleen Archambault, and what she did is interviewed queer citizens from around the world that shared their positive stories of living out and gay, and it details and celebrates the best of LGBT history. We also have many local authors on our program, but we also have people coming in from 31 different states and 3 countries, including Canada, England, and the Netherlands. Somebody that is coming into for the festival is Justin Torres. He's coming in from LA. His book was titled We the Animals, and it was recently adapted into a film that premiered at the 2018 Sundance Festival. And one last thing, I think the highlight of the weekend is going to be a panel led by our own Susan Larson here, and she's going to talk with other authors and the audience members, and we're going to come up with the big Great Gay Reading List that we'll promote in our next year's program.
So sasfest.org, and once again, we've got the Tennessee Williams Festival, and we have Saints and Sinners now, but if somebody wants to go to both of them, they can, but they're separate programming tracks as well, too. Thank you so much, Paul, and I'm glad you could be with us, of course. And now it's time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight, we are featuring work by 2 artists. The first is Sister Catherine Martin. This is, of course, the mother of tenderness, so so very beautiful. And Sister Catherine is a sister in the congregation of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and she most enjoys pencil artwork such as this piece titled Prophet of Nonviolence. You can see Sister Catherine's artwork displayed at the Carmelite Mother House, 9 a.m. to noon, at 420 Robert E. Lee Boulevard near Mount Carmel High School right there. And it's Saturday, and you can also purchase any of her works, all for a good cause, and you see the number and an email address right there. And we also are focusing on the work of local photographer Stephen Forrester. This is, of course, Alan Toussaint at the piano. Forrester has been chronicling New Orleans and Florida for over 45 years and has received numerous awards for his work. This is March on Royal, and you can purchase any of Forrester's photos by calling 495-8287 or through email right there, fhmmediagroup@gmail.com. He also has a Facebook page. Alan.
Well, you know, for many years, we always look forward to seeing Tennessee Williams' New Orleans Literary Festival production at Le Petit. Hasn't been every year. This year they have it, A Streetcar Named Desire, with artistic director Maxwell Williams at the helm of this production. We have him as well as Helen Yacht as the dramaturg. Some of the performances were turned up just a notch more than necessary for me. Williams is a known commodity here in New Orleans, and of course everybody here knows the kind of performances. We know what we particularly revere and look for. Some of the work's unspoken aspects, the spaces in between the phrases, which kind of make his works sing and dance a little bit with poetry, were slightly absent. Not necessarily bad, but just a little bit. Beth Bartley, the recent star of Southern Reps Suddenly Last Summer in 2015, and a cast member of Orpheus Descending in 2016, which she also co-produced, is familiar with many of the subtleties, so it was a little bit surprising that some of her choices were a bit overdone. But, you know, I would have enjoyed a little bit slightly more layered performance that would have pleased even more as the tension rose toward the play's dramatic conclusion. But Blanche is the focus of this work, after all. Williams has her on stage almost all the time. We have our eyes fixed on her even when other actors are speaking their lines. She's complicated, complex, emotionally fragile, yet calculating. Again, sometimes she's as coyish and playful as a young child, and while other times as blunt as a slap in the face. When it comes to the play's comedic aspects, however, her timing is absolutely brilliant. Blanche elicits many more laughs from this material than audiences may be suspecting or expecting. As Stanley Kowalski, actor Curtis Billings also raises up the level of his anger a bit early, but he plays the part of the uncultured and uncouth lout very, very passionately, and of course, mostly expressed in his love of bowling, beer, and babes, and not necessarily in that order. He becomes suspicious, of course, of Blanche and begins to look into her shady past. Paul Whitty, by the way, delivers a top performance as Mitch, in which he becomes the gentleman caller, if you will, to Blanche's Southern Belle persona. His measured and deliberate choices work well with Bartley on stage, and she weaves a web of deceit as she tries in her last desperate chance to trap him in marriage. Zeb Hollings III and Troy Bechet were also noted in their performances, as well as Eunice and Steve, the Kowalski's upstairs neighbors. Again, I recommend it, even though there are a little bit of as I said, ramped up performances in this, I still think it's worth seeing. A great performance you'll see in A Streetcar Named Desire through March the 31st at Le Petit. Meanwhile, the Jefferson Performing Arts Society has brought in an oldie but a goodie. It's the past of Roger Bean, who did a standby, if you will, of the Marvelous Wonderettes, a four-woman mashup of 1950s and 1960s pop classics. This is directed and choreographed by Jonathan Drury. The cast has some amazing vocal harmonizing, a clever book by Roger Bean, and it advances the storyline of a group, a quartet, if you will, of students who return in Act 2 for their 10th anniversary. The cast stars Marie Becknell as Betty Jean, Emily Heck as Susie, Brittany Lerberta as Missy, and Mandy Mueller as Cindy Lou. Together they're known as the Marvelous Wonderettes. From the opening number of Mr. Sandman to their renditions of Allegheny Moon, Born Too Late, the quartet really excels in this wonderful, superb melody with four-part harmony. When the ladies return to stage, I have to tell you, Act 2, they bring out some of the more recent 1960s songs like Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, Heat Wave, Betty Everett's Shoop Shoop song, It's in His Kiss, and among many others, Leslie Gore's You Don't Own Me and It's My Party. With a sparse but practical set designed by Kristen Blatchford and well-executed costumes by Emily Billington, The Marvelous Wonderettes is a fun show, and just sit back and relax and enjoy it. I will say, full disclosure, there is some audience participation in this one. Lighting design by Scott Sauber and sound design by Theo Fogelman, also very well done. The Marvelous Wonderettes through March the 25th at the Westwego Performing Arts Theater. Now, some 19 months ago, an unknown entity, Spencer Rocca, was doing Elvis impressions and hoping to break out with a win at the Stage Door Idol competition. He was, in fact, the very first man to win the competition in 2016. Well, based on his win with a 2:45, Victoria Reed took a big chance to get Spencer up to snuff, and he's now breaking out on his own in a Sinatra tribute called The Best of Sinatra. This is at the BB Stage Door Canteen, the World War II Museum. From the early days when he was the voice, on the days of Capitol Records, if you remember when he scored big with songs from Swinging Lovers, to the time when he became Old Blue Eyes and the chairman of the board, Rocca does an amazing job of emulating, not imitating Sinatra. The show runs on Wednesdays, includes a buffet lunch, and I would recommend it highly. Musical support by Tom Hook. Again, you can check that out at BB Stage Door Canteen. Meanwhile, Southern Rep is also participating in the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. And for those that don't recognize the reference, there is a piece called And Tell Sad Stories of the Death of Queens. Of course, a reference from Richard II by Shakespeare. They also have essentially a story about, if you will, a short story about a drag queen and her rough trade sailor who leaves her and consoled by two queens. Again, they live upstairs. There's also the two-character play from, again, this is going to be running, starting now and running through April the 1st. That'll be at Marquette Hall. And again, we want to recommend that Eileen Glazos is in that as well.
Thank you. And I heard Steel Magnolias has extended their run, too. So that's doing very, very well. But
yeah, I was going to mention that, but a little bit later. That's all right.
And time for our pick, Susan.
Oh, Minrose Gwynn, terrific Southern novelist, signs her book, Promise, Wednesday at 6 at Octavia Books, and she'll be at the festival as well.
Okay, Poppy.
Next weekend is Indie Chefs Week, hosted by Coquette's Kristen Essig and Michael Stolfitz, bringing together young independent chefs from all across the country to cook 3 fabulous dinners together.
All right, Paul.
I suggest on Saturday night of the Saints and Sinners Festival, we have a reading from the winners from our annual short fiction contests that are all published in this anthology.
All right, great. Alan.
And it's not Dear Mr. Gable, it's Dear Mr. Williams. This is Brian Batt's love letter, if you will, to Tennessee Williams on Saturday, March the 24th. And again, tickets, I think, are $20 at Le Petit.
Thank you. And now my picks real quick. Here's an assortment. We've got St. Joseph cookies, and they're from St. Francis Xavier Church. You can visit the church's annual altar. Talk about a beautiful altar this Sunday and Monday. There'll also be a public feeding on Monday from 11:30 to 2 p.m. in the church's cafeteria. For a full list of St. Joseph altars in Louisiana and New Orleans, go to WWLTV.com. Looking ahead, there'll be a free tricentennial concert headed by Armand St. Martin. That's next Tuesday night, and that will be at St. Mary's Catholic Church on Charter Street. The event is also a fundraiser for the poor, so donations are appreciated. The 20th annual Bach Around the Clock concert series, organized by Albinus and Manon Prisgintis, is happening next week at Trinity Episcopal Church. It'll start at 7 p.m. next Friday and continue all Saturday morning, day and night, until midnight. You're encouraged to bring your sleeping bags. And local jazz vocalist Zardis Nichols will pay homage to music legend Nina Simone in concert, and that will be next Friday at the New Orleans Jazz Market. Only advance tickets available. So make sure you visit the website on the screen or the event's Facebook page to purchase your tickets. And don't miss the Louisiana State Museums Foundation's Jump and Jive and Jazz Gala. That's next Saturday at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, also known as the Mint. Musical guests, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy and Bon Bon Vivant. And there'll be a patron party at 6:30 p.m. with the gala itself starting at 8 p.m. Tickets are available at THELMF.org. Thank you all so much, and thank you very much for watching. That's a lot of stuff. Good night.